Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the primary, the Argonak. But before we start, let's go over our commenter board. Our first commenter of the last video was Silver44, and our top commenter of the last video was NanoSquid. And let's take a look at our channel supporters here of WhoopDeWham, Nice Bear, and Colonel Suro 6. Thank you so much for your support. Also, we're getting close to 7K subscribers. And as you all know already, once we hit 7K subscribers, our channel is going to actually transform itself into a Fortnite dance tutorial channel. As a fat, bald, middle-aged man, I feel like that demographic is not represented enough, so I feel like I can actually corner the market in it. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribing. Unique and interesting things about the Argonak is that around your reticle up to about 100 meters away, enemies are going to be outlined in whatever color you choose as your energy color for the Argonak. So make sure you're picking a light energy color so you could actually see it, because if you pick a dark energy color, it's going to be pretty much invisible. Now, the outline on enemies is very similar to what we actually already have in the game in the accessibility options, where you can outline and highlight enemies. So you don't really need it, especially if you're using that accessibility option already, but hey, it's something unique to the Argonak, I guess, as well. Now, the other unique thing to the Argonak is that it has the option to use a special amalgam mod. So let me type in amalgam Argonak metal auger. Let's read it here. +3 punch through is what the Argonak gets, but then you also get damage from daggers reduces armor by 6. And then enemies are revealed by punch through. So personally, I don't believe this is worth putting on the build if you're actually trying to use the Argonak as your main killing weapon, because really all you're getting is +3 punch through. There's mods in the game like Prime Shred that gives you punch through and fire rate, so why would I just use this one? However, you could actually make a separate build for the Argonak that is pretty much just a stat stick for your melee weapon if you're using daggers as your melee weapon, and then you just get some armor reduction. It's not a huge amount of armor reduction, but it would technically be free armor reduction if you don't actually plan to use your primary. You would just have the Argonak in your primary slot, make sure you have this amalgam mod on the Argonak, and then whenever you're using those daggers, you get some reduced armor on enemies. So that's an option to use as like a utility build if you want to do that for the Argonak as well. The Argonak also has two different firing modes. It has a semi-automatic mode and it has an automatic mode. Now, I will say that you should always use it in its semi-automatic mode. Now, I brought up a blank config here just to show you. If we look, the semi-automatic mode, critical chance is 27%, really good. Critical damage is 2.3, that's really good. Status chance is 19%, that's okay. But if we look at the automatic setup here, critical chance 9%, that's really bad. Critical damage 1.5, that's really bad. And status chance is 27. Like, okay, 27 is better than the 19 here, but that's really all you're getting, along with just a little bit more fire rate. So the automatic setup is really bad compared to the semi. So always use this in its semi-automatic setup. Okay, let's go over the mods. Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot, Galvanized Scope for critical chance, Prime Shred for fire rate and punch through. Now, Prime Shred is unfortunately a login reward, so if you don't have access to Prime Shred, use Vial Acceleration here instead. Vial Acceleration will actually give you more fire rate, you'll just lose the punch through. Bladed Rounds for critical damage, Critical Delay for critical chance, Vital Sense for critical damage, and in the next two slots, we're going to be making viral by using the 60/60 Toxic mod and the 165 Cold mod of Primed Cryo Rounds to make viral. In the Exiles slot, we're going to be using Stabilizer. You don't need to use the primed version. I'm using the primed version here, but you don't actually need it. In the Arcane, we're going to be using Primary Deadhead. This is 360% flat damage, 30% headshot multiplier, and -50% weapon recoil. We're going to talk about the recoil a little bit here. So the if we were to take off Stabilizer, the Primary Deadhead, the negative recoil you get here is close to completely removing the recoil out of the Argonak. It doesn't actually remove all of it though. It still kind of bounces around a bit. So if you're okay with a little bit of bounce, then you could technically go Vigilante Supplies here, and this would be a DPS increase. This gives a 5% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. It's not a huge DPS increase, but it's a little bit of a DPS increase. However, if you're like me and you kind of value comfort a little bit more, I don't want my reticle to kind of be jumping around all over the place. I want to completely remove that recoil. Then Stabilizer would completely remove it. And again, you don't need Prime Stabilizer. Regular Stabilizer would remove it, this one here. But I have the Prime version, so I'm just going to plop it there anyway. So Prime Stabilizer completely removes that recoil, but if you're okay with a little bit of bounce on it, Vigilante Supplies is a slight DPS increase. This is how you build out the primary weapon, the Argonak. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing for future content. So we'll have a 5-minute gameplay portion now showcasing the weapon, and when that's done, we'll come back to the Orbiter and we'll give it its final score and ranking. So I'll see you guys again after the gameplay. Alrighty, we're about to start this gameplay portion up for the Argonak. Remember, make sure it's in its semi configuration. It should start in its semi configuration, but just double check that you're not misclicking and accidentally putting it in its automatic configuration. So it has pretty good stats. What really holds this thing back, I think, is its low base damage. The base damage is what really kind of hurts this thing. Because the critical chance, the critical damage, it's all really good. And obviously there's an accessibility option that lets you shoot semi-automatics as if they were automatic. So, you would want to use that with this weapon. Honestly, you would want to use it with every weapon in the game. I would just suggest always putting that on. But it kind of turns this into an automatic anyway, even though we're in its semi-automatic configuration. The automatic configuration just shoots slightly quicker than this. But again, it's got way, way worse stats. Except for status chance. And my channel, I try to go through all of the weapons in the game. So some of the weapons are going to be, the big, flashy, exciting ones, and some of the weapons are going to be like this one. It's kind of an old, forgotten weapon. I still want to go through it though, because some people might still be interested in building it out. Maybe you want to make sure you always have something built well for like a Duviri run if you get it by chance because of the RNG. But yeah, this is definitely one of the old, forgotten weapons that probably needs a little bit of love from DE. Again, I think it's just the base damage. The base damage is really what's holding this thing back. Stats themselves aren't bad. They're comparable to a lot of the new good assault rifles other than the base damage. A lot of like the newer assault rifles in the game, like once you get them fully stacked up with your conditionals, they'll like one-shot a lot of these enemies. And if you see here, like on Starter Steel Path, I'm still having to like 2-shot headshot, sometimes even 3-shot headshot, like these enemies, which doesn't seem like it's a big difference, but it increases your time to kill by quite a bit. So you won't get like near as good of a kill per minute from it as with like other assault rifles, maybe like the Kuver Carrick, for instance, or especially some of the really good ones like the Gotva. Or Gotva Prime, I guess. We have an Acolyte coming. This is not the best versus Acolytes. It's not like completely garbage, but it's kind of close. It's kind of close to being garbage. Let's try to get Misery down. Misery has an attack where he actually like kills his own dudes. So I want to get him down, that way he doesn't increase our kill per minute where it like looks like this was better than it is. Yeah, there he does. That attack right there kills his own dudes. Found that out one day because I was like using some kind of like garbage weapon, like really garbage. I don't even know what the hell it was. It might have been like the Stug or something. I was like, damn, how did this get so many kills? And it was because Misery was like up forever just killing everything. All right, so we got Thraxes here. Let's get these Thraxes out. It's not, again, it's not horrible against these dudes. Well, if I can actually get like a good beat on them finally. It's not horrible on these guys if you can get like a good beat on their heads. But it's not great either. It's just kind of meh. I can't get a good beat on this guy though. He's moving around too much and he's fighting his other guys for some reason. Get this other Thrax down. We're almost out of life support, but that's okay. We're not going farther than 5 minutes. And if we run out of life support, we'll just end it. Turn around, give me your head. Why are you fighting the sentients? All right, there we go. So a little bit past 5 minutes, since that took a little bit. 318 kills. You can probably see where this is going. So we'll go back to the Orbiter here. Welcome back to the Orbiter, guys. So let's go over how the Argonak did in its 3 10-minute runs on Steel Path Lewis Circulus. And I wish I could say I have definitive information for you, but unfortunately this time I don't. And that's because in the 5 or 6 runs I tried to get to 10 minutes on, every single one failed at about the 8 to 9 minute mark, because I ran out of air. And that's because it was not killing quick enough to produce enough yellow life supports, and eventually I just ran out of the big life supports. And so I will say that in 8 to 9 minutes, I was always at around 300 to 350 kills. So we could maybe assume that at 10 minutes, I would be at 400, or if we really wanted to be generous, 450, but it'd probably be closer to 400 kills in 10. And you know, that's not great, which kind of makes sense. That's probably why I was running out of life support. And so that would put it in the C tier for kill per minute potential. When it comes to single target, it's not the worst, but it's also not great either. I wouldn't even say it's average. So again, for single target, I think C tier is appropriate for it. And for ease of use, it's a weapon where you're going to want to get headshots. You want to stack scope, so it's not easy to use, but it's also not difficult. It's just kind of your typical assault rifle where you're just trying to aim and get headshots. So right in the middle at B tier for ease of use. So that's my take. Tell me what you guys think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.